For this list, we're going to be talking about wrestlers who are active on the WWE roster. If you're injured like Randy Orton, you will be on the list. But if you're a part-timer like John Cena, you will not. The wrestlers on this list have paid the price, been in the right place at the right time, and seized every opportunity as they've presented themselves. Here are the highest paid WWE wrestlers of 2023, starting with Paul Heyman, $2 million.
My name is Paul Heyman.
The only non-wrestler on the list, Paul Heyman is featured heavily on WWE TV in the Bloodline storyline. Happy Heyman has always found a way to get himself involved in pro wrestling, dating back to the late 80s as a manager for Mean Mark Callis, who you may now know by a different name. After revolutionizing the industry with ECW in the 90s, Heyman debuted as a commentator for WWE in 2001 and has managed to weasel his way into main event storylines ever since.
Paul, say something stupid.
Charlotte Flair, $2 million. How about that? The greatest female performer of all time, and she's making the same amount of money as Paul Heyman. But Charlotte has certainly earned her money with main event after main event on her resume, with 2 NXT Women's Championships, 6 Raw Women's Championships, 7 SmackDown Women's Championships, and the distinction as the final holder of the Divas title. It's hard to argue that Charlotte has earned her place on the card and the paycheck that goes with it.
She is the queen.
Kevin Owens, $2 million.
The hell out of the Usos. And this is just stunner.
Another superstar who joins Heyman and Charlotte in the $2 million club is lifelong underdog Kevin Owens. When wrestling on the indies as Kevin Steen, Owens was frequently told that he was too small and too fat to ever make it in the big leagues. But here we are in 2023, and Owens is out-earning the vast majority of the industry. Stellar matches, great promos, important storylines, and a world title run in 2016 are all on his resume in case anyone wants to debate his spot.
What's that clothesline? Owens, pop a powerbomb!
The Miz, $2.5 million.
The Miz is WWE champion. Here is your winner.
Who'd have thought when we first saw The Miz, then known as Mike Mizanin in 2004, that A, we'd still be talking about him in 2023, and B, he would be a 2-time former world champion and 1-time WrestleMania main eventer. Who would have even thought that when he was essentially a jobber in 2007? The first glimpse of greatness we got with The Miz was his team with John Morrison in 2009, and he's never stopped improving since. From starring in WWE movies to starring in his own reality show, The Miz takes every opportunity that comes his way and turns it into gold.
The Miz is WWE champion.
Becky Lynch, $3 million. Of the original 4 horsewomen of NXT, for a long time it looked like Becky Lynch was going to be the one that had the spotlight on her the least. That all changed in November 2018 when Nia Jax busted her open for real with the image of Lynch's bloody nose turning her into an overnight superstar. Already a former SmackDown Women's Champion, Lynch rose above the rank of champion and became a huge household name. WWE intelligently made her the winner of the 2019 Women's Royal Rumble, after which she would go on to be one of the first women to main event a WrestleMania and the only woman to hold both the Raw and SmackDown world titles at once. And now she's the highest paid female wrestler in WWE.
Big time Bex looking like $1 million.
Seth Rollins, $3 million.
Seth Rollins is your new world heavyweight champion.
When the Shield first debuted in WWE, Rollins stood out with his high-flying moves and athleticism, but it was generally assumed amongst fans that he would be the least successful of the group, as Ambrose had the mic skills and Reigns had the size and look of a superstar. Boy, were we wrong, as Rollins was the first of the 3 to secure a world championship, essentially stealing it in the main event of WrestleMania 31. Rollins has been a featured main event player ever since, including winning multiple world titles and winning the Royal Rumble in 2019. Now, Rollins' spotlight shines the brightest with his flamboyant character, sing-along entrance music, and Raw World Championship.
Rollins with the heist of the century! Brilliant!
AJ Styles, $3.5 million.
The phenomenal one is here! AJ Styles!
How insane is it to think that AJ Styles was performing in WCW all the way back in 2001? From there, die-hard wrestling fans knew him as the greatest performer WWE didn't sign. He could have been part of the Invasion storyline and mixed it up with the likes of Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. He could have come in during the Ruthless Aggression era and had matches with Batista and CM Punk. Instead, we were forced to wait until 2016, 15 years after he debuted on TV for a major wrestling promotion, to see what we had been missing. And Styles hasn't disappointed for even 1 second. World titles, main event storylines, and still being the best in-ring performer on the roster comes second nature to the phenomenal one.
Styles! Oh my God! Phenomenal form through the table!
Randy Orton, $4.5 million.
Be kidding me! Oh, did he do it? Did he get it? Oh my God!
Randy Orton won his first world title from Chris Benoit back at SummerSlam 2004. The fact that he's still competing at a main event level 20 years later is absolutely insane. 20 years before 2004 was 1984, with maybe the only wrestler from that generation still competing in the early 2000s being Hulk Hogan. But it was obvious that Hogan was broken down and way past his prime. In 2023, though Orton has been injured for a while, when he's on camera and in the ring, he looks just as good as he did when he won his first world title. Frankly, he looks even better. We all knew he would be a superstar as soon as he joined Evolution in 2003, but none of us could have predicted that he'd have lasted this long.
Randy Orton has been a top star for 20 years.
Roman Reigns, $5 million.
Acknowledge me!
There are perks to being the main character of WWE for close to the last decade. Reigns was booed heavily as a babyface and was on track to be the company's next John Cena, in that they kept trying to make us cheer him, but we hated him more and more. But WWE did with Reigns what they should have done with Cena in the late 2000s and turned him into potentially the greatest villain of all time. This is the first time I can remember where the heel is the main character in WWE. The closest was probably Triple H on Raw in the early and mid-2000s, but even he didn't come close to the outright superstardom that Roman Reigns has. Brock Lesnar, $5 to $12 million.
The single most decorated and dominant athlete of all time.
It's tough to say exactly how much Brock is earning in 2023 as he continues to work limited dates but completely dominate when he shows up. There was a massive hole in the WWE when Brock originally left in 2004, and there's no way we could have predicted what his insane journey was going to be. UFC was still in its infancy in 2004, but as it grew, Brock saw then heavyweight champion Tim Sylvia and thought, wait a minute, I can beat that guy. After winning the UFC heavyweight title and defending it twice, Brock returned to the WWE in 2012 with a level of respect never given to a superstar before. Over the next 11 years, Brock would destroy everyone that he fought, very rarely lose, end The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak, win multiple world titles, and even another Royal Rumble, with his first Rumble victory being in 2003 and his next one 19 years later in 2022.
Can he deliver it? He does! F5
That concludes our list of the highest paid WWE wrestlers in 2023. Who surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below.